and welcome everyone to today's webinar entitled Benefits of Working as a Direct Hire Nurse. I'd like to welcome everyone that's joining us today. My name is Ron Hoppy. I'm the CEO of Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions, and I'm excited to have you joining us for this, what will be our last webinar presentation of 2023. We've got people joining and logging on from all over the world, which is always exciting to see. And as we get into today's presentation, my hope is that we'll be able to share with you information that is practical, information that is useful, and information that will put you in a position to make the best possible decisions for your future. I see many of you logging in already. And if you would be so kind, as you do log in the chat section of your screen, if you could just let us know which country you're joining us from today, we'd really appreciate that. It's always interesting and encouraging to us to see the representation from many, many different countries on each of our webinars, and we do want to ensure that we're connecting with as many of you and your colleagues and your friends around the world as is possible. So if you would, just take a moment and just say hi and let us know which country you are joining from. A couple of things just before we jump into today's presentation. In the upper right corner of the chat section of your screen, you're going to see a yellow box. We call it our Post-it note. And in that yellow box, there's a number of links there that may be helpful to you as we go through the presentation this morning. The first is we have members of our recruiting team standing by for you to connect with in real time. So if you want to chat live with one of our recruiters, with any questions you may have, there's a link there at the very top that says chat live with our recruiters. If you click there, you'll be able to have a conversation with one of our recruiters in real time if you are part of this presentation live. Secondly, you'll see there's a link there that says refer a nurse friend. This is something I think everyone will be interested in. We've launched a fantastic referral rewards program, and you can learn more about it there. Also in the yellow box, there's an opportunity for you to like us on Facebook. If you haven't already done so, I would ask that you just take a moment. Following us and liking us on Facebook is probably one of the best ways that you can keep up to date and informed on all the latest happenings, all the latest opportunities with Worldwide HealthStaff. And then lastly, if you are in a position where you would like to apply with us for the first time today, there's also a link there that will allow you to do that with just a couple of clicks. Also, I just want to share with everyone that this presentation is being recorded. And everyone that is attending today, as well as everybody that has registered for this event, will be receiving an email within the next 24 hours that will have a link to the recording of this presentation. Feel free to use that link to review part or all of the presentation of today. Also, feel free to share that link with any of your colleagues, friends and colleagues that you think may be interested or may benefit from the information that we're going to share today. So please be on the lookout for that email with a recording of today's presentation. We want to ensure that we have an opportunity to interact with you today in the course of our webinar, and to that end, we invite and welcome your questions. Please just submit your questions using the chat section of your home screen. I'm joined on the presentation today by two of my colleagues, who will be actively monitoring your questions. And as we come to the conclusion of the formal presentation this morning, we'll do our best to respond to as many questions as we can. So with that being said, let's jump right in. And again, the topic of today's presentation is the benefits of working as a direct hire nurse versus a staffing agency nurse. I think one of our key objectives this morning or today is simply to illustrate and point out clearly for you the differences between these two primary models of international healthcare recruiting. There is, as everybody knows, quite a number of international recruitment agencies in the marketplace. The majority or the vast majority of these, I dare say, operate using the staffing agency or contract labor model. And then there are others like Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions that are exclusively focused and committed to the direct hire model. I'm not here today to specifically convince you that one model is better than the other. You're ultimately going to make that decision for yourself. However, I do believe it's very, very important that all candidates understand the difference so that you can make the most informed and best decision for your future. And, you know, it's no secret that we do believe very strongly here at Worldwide HealthStaff in the direct hire model. It is the model that we've been offering to our candidates exclusively for the last 25 years. It's the model that we believe in most strongly today, in fact, more strongly than ever before. So we're going to dive in, but with that introduction, just want to make it clear that our objective here today is to inform you, to educate you, to answer your questions. So at the end of this presentation, you have the information that you need to make the best possible decision for your future. So one of the key differences between the two models right from the beginning is what we call freedom to choose, right? Everybody wants to be in control of their own future. We want to be as much as we can in control of our circumstances day to day, maybe even hour to hour. So certainly, I think everyone is looking to be in control and have influence over, you know, what their future working and living in another country will be. And one of the key differentiating factors between direct hire and other models is the freedom to choose. And let me just elaborate on what I mean by freedom to choose. So in the direct hire model, right, you will be presented with opportunities to interview with selected U.S. healthcare employers based on your experience and profession. And you will actually have the ability to decide where it is you even want to interview, right? So at Worldwide HealthStaff, if you've applied or you will apply, we will review your experience, your background. We'll learn more about your personal and professional priorities, and then we'll provide you with a selection of employers that we think might be a great fit for you, and you have the opportunity from the beginning to select those employers that you would like to interview with and those that you would not want to interview with, and that's fine. Our commitment is to find the best possible match for you that we possibly can. Also in the direct hire model, as I said, you will see a list of the client facilities, and you'll be able to evaluate those and ask questions about those certainly well before you would ever be expected to sign any type of a job offer. In fact, as I said earlier, you would be selecting even who you want to interview with right from the beginning. In the staffing agency model, if we contrast that, you also have the freedom to choose your preferred locations, but there is no guarantee provided by the staffing agency of what your final location will be. You can say, I would like to be in Dallas, Texas, or I would like to be in Tampa, Florida. And the response is, we think we can certainly accommodate you there. But if you read the staffing agency offer letters very carefully, you will see that there explicitly is no guarantee of your final location where you will be assigned. In fact, there's usually wording to the effect that the staffing agency, in its sole discretion, has the right to determine your final location of assignment. And your location assignment will not be set until after your contract agreement is signed. So in this first key consideration, the freedom to choose or the freedom to be in control, I think there's significant differences here between the two models that it is important to be aware of and to consider very, very carefully. The next item or the next area of comparison is legal sponsorship. Legal sponsorship. Who is it that is sponsoring your immigration petition, and who is it that will be carrying out that work? So when it comes to legal sponsorship, in the direct hire model, as a registered nurse, you will very likely be processed in the green card or EB3 category, permanent resident visa. You may also have an opportunity under very select circumstances to possibly be processed in H-1B. And if you are a registered nurse that is a citizen of either Canada or Mexico, there may also be a TN visa option for you. In the staffing agency model, most frequently nurses are sponsored in the EB3 green card category. Some agencies may offer H-1B and they may offer TN. Here at Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions, we offer opportunities for legal sponsorship in each of these categories, depending upon the preference of the candidate, the qualifications of the candidate, the citizenship of the candidate as it relates to TN visa. So at Worldwide HealthStaff, in our direct hire model, we utilize every visa program that is available to us for the sponsorship of international nurses. Next is a really super important point and a point of differentiation that matters a lot. So please pay particular attention to the petition sponsor. Who is the sponsor of your petition? In the Worldwide HealthStaff direct hire model, your petitioner, the sponsor of your petition, is the U.S. healthcare facility to which you will be reporting for work on day one after you've arrived in the United States and you're ready to start working. If you're assigned to a specific hospital, it will be that hospital that is going to be sponsoring your visa application. Of course, that will happen with the assistance of the Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions team, our team of immigration attorneys. We work with immigration attorneys all across the country. We think we work with the very, very best. So you will be sponsored directly by the facility that you're working for. Also, very, very important to note, in the Worldwide HealthStaff direct hire model. All of your immediate family members will also be included on your immigration petition. Immediate family members are defined as a spouse and unmarried children up to the age of 21. Now, whether it's direct hire or staffing agency, your family members will be included on the petition. But a key difference in the Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions model is that we do not, our attorneys do not charge you any additional legal fees or processing fees related to your family members that are being added. We've heard cases of where an employer will pay for the principal applicant, but that principal applicant is then expected to pay several thousand or many thousands of dollars in additional legal fees for the processing or the inclusion of their immediate family members on their petition. So again, in the direct hire model, it is your actual employer who is sponsoring your immigration application, whereas in the staffing agency model, it is the staffing agency themselves that is sponsoring your visa. So you are not being sponsored by any specific U.S. healthcare employer where you may be assigned. You are being sponsored by a staffing agency. There are many well-established, reputable staffing agencies who are financially sound. But anytime you have a market where there's a great demand for a particular service, you have a lot of startup organizations as well. And I would just caution you that if you are looking at being sponsored by a staffing agency that has not been around for very long or has been established just very recently, if that staffing agency runs into financial difficulty, it could completely sink your immigration application. So it's something to take very careful account of. You want to always be sure that you are working with a well-established, credible international recruiting agent. And the best way for you to do that is to connect with the CGF&S Alliance for Ethical International Healthcare Recruitment, the CGF&S Alliance. And if you go to the CGF&S Alliance website, you will find a listing there of recruitment agencies, both direct hire and staffing agency, that the CGF&S Alliance has accredited and provides oversight to in terms of their recruitment practices and track record. So with direct hire, you have the assurance that you are being sponsored by a very financially secure U.S. healthcare facility. At Worldwide HealthStaff, we're working with many of the largest health systems across the country. So you never have the concern that your application may be derailed because of the financial stability of a staffing agency that you may be working with. So really important point of differentiation between the two models here is direct hire. You're being sponsored directly by the U.S. healthcare employer that you will be employed by when you arrive here in the United States. Your work site, right? Everybody is very much wanting to know, where will I be assigned? Where will I be working? And this is really important, not only as it relates to your employment, but it's also super important as it relates to getting to know the community that you might be, that you will be placed in, having as much time as possible to learn about that community, to get prepared for your relocation. And again, when it comes to work site, right, some very clear differences between the two models that impact you directly. So again, in the direct hire model, right, your worksite location will be known before you ever sign your job offer or employment contract. Why? Because you will be interviewing directly with the employer where you will be placed. You'll have an opportunity to ask them questions about their organization, about the community that they're located in. And not only will you know your work site, you will know what your rate of pay is even before you sign, again, a job offer or an employment contract. In the staffing agency relationship, your final work site is unknown at the time that you are expected to sign your job offer or employment contract. So you're signing a commitment for 2.5, 3 years without knowing exactly where it is you're going to be located. And of course, everybody enters into these things with the very best of intentions. But if that staffing agency doesn't have a contract or openings in your preferred location at the time that you're arriving in the United States, then you're going to be placed somewhere else, and you can protest and you can object. But at the end of the day, in accepting that staffing agency offer, you've agreed to allowing that staffing agency to make the final decision as to where your placement location will be. It comes back to control. It comes back to who's in control. Are you in control of the process, or is the staffing agency in control of the process? Is it important to you to know in advance of signing a serious legal commitment and making that obligation? Is it important for you to know where exactly you'll be working, what exactly you will be doing, as opposed to having to wait till much later on in the process after you've made that commitment to finally find out where it is that you may be placed. Pay, right? Let's talk about pay. Everybody is very, very interested in what is the rate of pay, what is my compensation, what are my benefits. All of these things are important and make up what we refer to as your total compensation package. And in this regard, I would simply encourage all of you to, consider the total compensation package, and don't just consider one of the components of that in isolation. Don't just consider, the hourly rate of pay. Don't just consider the benefits, etc. You have to consider all of these things together because they really do represent what it is your total compensation will be. So when it comes to your pay, in the direct hire model, you're going to know what your offered rate of pay is before you ever sign a job offer or employment contract. Now, we are asked very, very frequently, what is the hourly rate of pay? And the answer always is, it depends, right? Hourly rates of pay vary tremendously across the United States, driven primarily by the cost of living in different markets in the United States. The cost of living in very large urban centers is obviously much higher than it is in less densely populated cities or suburbs or even in rural areas. So in the direct hire model, you also have the assurance, regardless of which type of market you're looking at opportunities in, that your rate of pay is going to be competitive, right, in that market based on your experience, because you are being hired directly by your end employer. That employer is, in whatever community you're in, has competition. There will be other hospitals either in the same community or very nearby. And the employer that you're interviewing with has to be very, very competitive in terms of the pay and the benefits they offer, just because of these competitive forces in the marketplace. So you have the assurance that in your marketplace, wherever it is that you are looking at being placed, that your rate of pay is going to be very, very competitive and on par, right? On par with what nurses, even working at other hospitals in the area, are getting. In the direct hire model, some of our employers are now offering sign-on bonuses and other types of incentive payments, shift differentials, and incentives, and holiday pay. Now, you've seen here we have the phrase same as colleagues. Same as colleagues. This is a super, super important point. And let me just take a moment to elaborate. So in the direct hire model, not only do you know the rate of pay before you sign your offer or employment contract, not only do you have the assurance that you're going to be receiving a competitive rate of pay based on the market rates where you're going to be placed, but here's the big one. You will be paid the exact same amount and you will receive the exact same benefits as every other nurse working at your facility in a similar unit that is similarly qualified to yourself. So if you are coming to a U.S. hospital and you are an ER nurse and you have 5 years of current and relevant ER nursing experience, then you will start at a rate of pay that will be equal to every other nurse at that facility in an ER department that has 5 years of experience, provided you have a similar educational background. So not only do you know what your pay will be, not only do you know that it will be competitive in your marketplace, but you have the assurance of knowing that you are going to be treated fairly and equitably and paid at the same rate as every other similarly qualified applicant at your employer. This is huge, huge, huge. Alternatively, in the staffing agency model as it relates to pay, your rate of pay is established entirely by the staffing agency without regard necessarily for what local market rates might be where you are going to be placed. Pay tends to be less due to healthcare employers paying a premium to the staffing agency. We do not charge our clients for our services on an hourly, ongoing basis. We are compensated by our clients based on a flat fee that we charge them. And that flat fee is actually, our clients find that to be far more cost effective. So instead of some of the money that would otherwise go towards paying the staffing agency fee, that employer has additional resources to ensure you're getting the best possible rate of pay. In the staffing agency world, it is also not uncommon that their incentives and holiday pay are different than the holiday pay and incentive policies of the actual employer where you may be placed, as well as shift differentials may not be as competitive as colleagues or may not be offered at all. So in the staffing agency scenario, you're going to be paid at a rate determined by the staffing agency, and you're going to receive various benefits as determined by the staffing agency. In the direct hire model, as a direct employee, you're not only being paid the same, but you're entitled to all of the same benefits, all of the same privileges, and you have the same obligations as every other nurse that is directly employed by the facility where you are being placed. So important things for you to consider here when it comes to pay. because pay obviously matters a lot. It matters to every one of us, and you want to ensure that you are being paid fairly and that you're being paid equitably alongside with and in alignment with the colleagues that you are working with each and every day. So another important point for you to consider. Pay is one part of compensation. Benefits is another. I've touched on this just a little bit, but let me just elaborate a little bit further. In terms of benefits in the direct hire model, again, your benefits are equal to those of your future colleagues at the facility where you will be placed. These benefits are being offered to you through the hospital or through the facility where you are assigned, and these generally include paid time off, medical insurance, retirement savings, and others. Again, in the staffing agency opportunity, your benefits are established entirely by the staffing agency, and those benefits may or may not be equal to or comparable to the benefits that are actually being offered to the staff of the location where you will be assigned. You know, it's not an uncommon situation for staffing agency nurses, whether international or domestically, to be assigned to a particular employer, and very soon thereafter to determine that they are being paid differently than the nurses that they are working alongside of. This many times is demoralizing. It's a point of contention between the direct hire staff, permanent staff, and the temporary or contracted staff. So again, in direct hire, you have the assurance, you have the confidence of knowing well in advance that you're going to be treated on an equal basis with each of your nursing colleagues that you will be working with on a day-to-day basis. So also an important consideration. USRN sponsorship. Common question that we get is, will you pay? Do you fund or do you finance the cost of the NCLEX exam? In the Worldwide HealthStaff direct hire model, we do not sponsor or pay for in advance for NCLEX exam related expenses. We do have some very, very limited programs in very specific clinical areas right now, specifically dialysis, where we may be offering some NCLEX support. But generally speaking, this is not something that we do. We believe the NCLEX exam is something that is, it belongs to you, the applicant. It's something that you can take with you over the course of your career. And it's also something that we look to and recognize as a significant commitment on the part of applicants to their U.S. immigration journey. Some staffing agencies do offer to pay for some or maybe even all of NCLEX-related costs. So that is a point of difference as well. And we want to acknowledge that. But at the same time, when this type of sponsorship is provided, it also comes with very clear requirements that if you don't pass, anything that has been spent on your behalf has to be reimbursed. So that's a thing. And when you see advertisements that tout free, when it screams free, everything is free, this is free, we're going to do this for free. Just want to caution you that free isn't free. You're going to pay for it. The question is when and how. So maybe you're not paying for your NCLEX exam costs up front, but you will pay for whatever amounts an agency invests in you. You will pay either through in some cases, payroll deduction when you arrive in the United States. And you say, well, that's okay. When I'm in the US, I'll be earning a lot of money and I can afford, for payroll deduction. I would just urge caution there. When you first relocate to a new country, there's many expenses that you're going to incur, one-time expenses related to that relocation, and payroll deductions at that point can make it far more difficult in your adjustment phase. So you're either going to pay payroll deduction or you're going to pay through a lower hourly rate of pay that over the course of a year or two actually is going to cost you far more than if you had paid for some of these things yourself and were earning the full salary without deduction, being paid based on your years of experience and being paid in alliance and congruence with the rates of pay that your colleagues, similarly qualified colleagues, are receiving at their place of employment. Other considerations when you're looking at the different opportunities that you have in front of you, and another one of these is applicant support. Applicant support. How, what resources are available to you as you go through your immigration journey, as you prepare to relocate, as you relocate, and then even once you've arrived, what supports are available to you once you have arrived. And I really want to take just a moment and speak to this because unfortunately we've seen that there is some misinformation and some confusion amongst applicants when it comes to the level of applicant support that is provided in the direct hire model, some myths that have been established. So let's just take a minute and speak to some of these, right? In the direct hire model, we work with all candidates. We work with single candidates. We work with candidates that are married. We work with candidates that have a small family. We work with candidates that have large families. And unfortunately, some have seen fit to share information in the marketplace that in the direct hire model, you have to be a single applicant. That's entirely untrue. It's unfortunate that that type of information is even shared. And we welcome and we regularly work with and we enjoy working with all of our candidates regardless of their family status. We support our applicants directly in preparing for the English language exam. We do not require applicants to have passed an English language exam at the time of interview or as a condition of accepting a job offer. In our direct hire model, candidates are able to take that English language exam after their petition has been filed. We support our candidates in their visa screen application. And in fact, we will reimburse you for the cost of your visa screen application once it is completed. We have a very well-established and very, very knowledgeable licensing team that will support you through all aspects of the licensure process and will work with you proactively to ensure that your licensing application process is advanced as far as it possibly can be prior to your arrival in the United States. Licensing requirements in the United States are dynamic. They're not static. They're changing from time to time. So just because your friend that went to a certain state followed a certain process 18 months ago, we always urge great caution because some of that process may have changed. And our licensing team has a protocol where we're updating our complete licensure database for all states at least every 60 days, if not more frequently. So our licensing team is available and part of the support service that we provide. Likewise, our relocation team. We have a great relocation team that will work with you and connect with you well before the time that you will actually be departing for the United States. And they will work through a whole series of issues with you to ensure that you're properly planning for stress-free and seamless relocation to the United States to the greatest degree possible. That relocation team stays with you through to your arrival in the U.S. and working with you before you depart. They will work to secure temporary housing for you. They will work with you to identify permanent housing options and a whole list of other supports that are just part and parcel of moving halfway around the world from one country to another. Transportation. What will your transportation needs and options be when you get to your new country, when you get to the U.S.? And then within 2 days of arriving in the United States, we have our post-arrival support team, our retention team, that will very, very promptly connect with you, and they'll be supporting you through your initial arrival period through to the start of employment. And they will then systematically check in with you on 30-day intervals for your first 6 months here in the U.S. They'll be available to help you navigate and deal with any issues that might arise, either just in your everyday personal affairs and related to becoming established in your community, any issues that are employment related where you perhaps are looking for some guidance and support. That team is available. You can connect with someone there at any point in time, and they will be systematically and regularly checking in with you through calls, emails, surveys, so that we are engaged with you very, very closely, even after the time that you arrive. So when it comes to applicant support, I think, at least speaking for the Worldwide HealthStaff model, you will be as well supported as you can be. We have a strong commitment to that, and the level and type and manner of support is slightly different, even between direct placement agencies as well as staffing agencies. But just want to clarify and dispel any misunderstandings or myths that somehow in the direct hire model applicants are not well supported. That couldn't be further from the truth in our case, and we continue to build out our applicant support capabilities even further. And as we go into 2024, we look forward to rolling out some of the new resources that we will be putting in place to make sure that our candidates' relocation is, again, as stress-free as it possibly can be. Contract. Let's talk for a minute just about contract, just to sort of make sure that there's a clear understanding here. In the direct hire model, your job offer or employment contract is with the U.S. healthcare facility where you will be working. That is to whom you're making your commitment, and that is where your employment contract is going to be. In the staffing agency world, again, just to reiterate, your contract is with that staffing agency on whatever terms that they determine. The job offers that our employers extend to you, these are job offers that are prepared in collaboration between ourselves and the employer. These are reviewed by the employer's legal counsel to ensure that they comply with all local and federal employment laws, that they do not have provisions in there that are unenforceable or that are inappropriate as it comes to certain terms and termination and so on and so forth. In the staffing agency model, just again for you to be aware that your contract is directly with that staffing agency. They have set the terms of that agreement, probably without input from the employer where you will be placed. So again, we always encourage everyone to never sign a contract with any type of agency until you very, very clearly understand all of its terms and provisions. And in fact, if you want more information specifically on this aspect, if you go to our website at healthstaff.org, go to the applicant section. We have some great free resources there, and you'll actually find some more detailed information on how to evaluate a job offer. We've always said for many years, all job offers are not created equal, and it is very, very important that you take the time and to seek out the resources that you may need to ensure that you have a clear understanding of what the contract terms are that you are about to agree to. Just a couple more points that I'd like to share before we get into our question and answer. Nursing team, right? You want to know what team are you on? Are you part of the team? You want to feel that you are supported by your colleagues. And again, I think this is a point of consideration. As I've mentioned several times now, in the direct hire model, you are an employee of the hospital. You're on the same team as all of your other colleagues that you are working with on a daily basis, right? You're one with the team. You're going through the same facility orientation. You're going to be part of the same culture on an ongoing basis. Likewise, clinically, by your employer, you will be very strongly supported through the orientation process, the onboarding process, again, all provided through the hospital staff so that you're in complete alignment with all of your coworkers and colleagues. In the staffing agency model, this is something that really became prevalent throughout the pandemic, and it's an issue that continues today, and that is that contract staff, staffing agency staff oftentimes have reported feeling alienated from their coworkers or being labeled as a traveler or as a contingent labor, not part of the team, somebody from the outside who may be perceived to be getting shifts that maybe others can't, or just for various reasons, just not being as welcomed to the team, not feeling as much a part of the team. And so this is, obviously a concern, particularly if you've just moved from halfway around the world, you don't know anyone, and you're looking for support at work. You certainly don't want to encounter situations where you may be viewed as an outsider or somehow being treated differently. Clinical onboarding in the staffing agency world can be completed in some cases virtually. In some cases, you're required to report to a specific location for a period of time, but your primary clinical onboarding is not necessarily going to take place at the hospital to which you've been assigned, at least not in the initial phase of your employment. And then the last point relates to just ongoing employment. And I know professional development is a really important issue to many of our candidates. Career path, wanting to advance, wanting to improve yourself. And I think a couple considerations here as well as it relates to professional development. Again, as a direct employee of the facility where you're assigned, you have the equal and same access to all of the same continuing education, professional development, and educational support incentives that every other nurse at that facility has. Employers are increasingly placing a higher priority on professional development. So having an extensive array of continuing education programs, professional development opportunities, and a variety of tuition support or tuition reimbursement programs for those that are seeking advanced degrees. As a direct hire employee, you are entitled to participate in these benefits exactly the same as everybody else that you're working with. Likewise, your credentialing and compliance requirements are going to be specific to the hospital and unit where you're assigned. Most of these compliance items will be completed by you in-house when you're at work. In the staffing agency world, continuing education is offered by the staffing agency. Each organization does this somewhat differently, and that may or may not be in alignment with what your nursing colleagues at the facility where you're located are receiving. Accelerated nursing school or advanced degree opportunities may not be accessible to you until your contract obligation is fulfilled. So if you're wanting to start maybe on a bachelor's or master's degree, you might have to put that off for several years, where in the direct hire model, that's not the case. And in terms of compliance and credentialing, those requirements are obviously specific to the staffing agency. And you may then also have to complete additional compliance items when you actually report to your place of work. So these are the key points that I wanted to call out today as part of our discussion about the benefits of working as a direct hire nurse. Let me say again, as I said at the beginning, we're not here to make the point that one model is better than the other, but we are here to make the point they are different, and that understanding these differences is critically important as you evaluate the opportunities that are before you. We're excited to see the number of candidates that over the years increasingly have embraced the direct hire model. We've seen in recent years a very, very strong acceptance of the direct hire model by U.S. healthcare employers for a variety of reasons, and that helps to support our continued growth in being able to offer to you, our candidates, not only more opportunities, but the best opportunities with the best employers, who have facilities in the best locations. So we're excited. We're committed today more than ever than we have been to the direct hire model. And we certainly would consider it a privilege if we had the opportunity of walking alongside with you on your journey to the United States. So while we still have a few minutes, I'm going to call on my colleague CJ, who's been monitoring the chat as we've been going along through our presentation today. So CJ, any questions that have come up that we might be able to speak to?
Oh, yeah. Yes, Ron. We have a few questions. And also, I want to mention Tracy for answering the questions from the chat. Tracy is our manager of communications and marketing. Thank you for helping answering the chat from the chat. So let's start with our first question. This question is from Isaac. So if the pay rate changes before I arrive in the USA, will the direct hire employer increase my wage correspondingly?
Yeah. So the answer is clearly yes. Yes. When an employer is extending a rate of pay, obviously they can only offer the rate of pay that is being offered today, right? It's going to take some time for a candidate to arrive in the United States, and during that time, it's almost certain that there will be at least one pay adjustment and maybe even two pay adjustments with that employer. Obviously, the employer doesn't know in advance what those will be, but whatever those adjustments are, they will be applicable to our candidates as well in the in the HealthStaff direct hire model.
Okay, thanks, Ron. Next question is, I'd like to ask is it always written in the offer letter, the sign-in bonus and the shift differential?
It may be, it may not be. It just depends on the employer. But the assurance is given right from the beginning that whatever shift differentials are being offered to staff, that those exact same shift differentials will be offered to our candidates. And things such as sign-on bonus and other incentive payments are very much employer specific. Some employers offer these things, some don't. And again, it's just part of considering what the total compensation package is, not just who has the biggest sign-on bonus, who has other incentives. Yeah, that's part of it, but always be sure to consider that together with the hourly rate of pay, together with the benefits package that you're being offered, because benefits packages can vary widely, and they can have significant financial impacts as well in terms of how much of your health insurance is your employer paying for, how much are you having to pay for health insurance. All of these things are important to understand.
Thanks, Ron. Next question is, my question is that will those have paid for their NCLEX exam and passed will reimbursed by a direct hire company?
In the case of Worldwide HealthStaff, we do not reimburse the cost of the NCLEX exam. We do reimburse several other things, such as visa screen. We reimburse the cost of the medical exam, but the NCLEX exam is one item that we do not reimburse.
Okay, thanks, Ron. And we're done with our last question. And the question is, are you doing H-1B visa for Indian-born nurses through direct hire?
Yeah. So the answer is maybe. It's something that we're working on. There is a lot of interest in H-1B visas. There's a lot of misunderstanding about H-1B visas. And I'll take this opportunity, in fact, to invite everyone that's on this presentation today to join us on January 10th. That'll be our first webinar of the new year, where I'll be joined by Mike Hammond. Mike is one of the leading healthcare immigration attorneys in the country. And Mike and I will be discussing the topic specifically of H-1B visas and are they for real? So if H-1B visas is something you'd like to learn more about, CJ, correct me if I'm wrong, I think registration information is already available. If not, we'll make it available very, very soon on Facebook and our other social media channels. But I would invite all of you to join us on January the 10th, when Mike Hammond and myself will be addressing the topic of H-1B visas for all nationalities and answering the question, are they for real? And under what circumstances might they be available? And under what circumstances are they not available?
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Ron. So those are the questions that we have from the chat, and also to all those nurses who still have questions, you are always free to access our chat support, chat with our live recruiters, and I posted the link from the chat. And also, if you have nurse friend who wants to work here in the United States, we have this Refer a Nurse program. I will also put that on the chat. And for every success, our referred friend or nurse friend, you will earn up to $250. And also, before closing the Q&A session, I've seen some Kenyan nurses from the chat, Ron, and I believe we will be in Kenya on January.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So,
Thanks for mentioning that, CJ. So just as we wrap up, because we're at time, we will be in Nairobi, Kenya, with a U.S. healthcare employer doing live in-person interviews. Details there are also available on all of our social media channels. We're excited to be back to Nairobi. We were in Nairobi earlier in 2023, and we're excited to be returning with one of our longtime U.S. clients that will be doing live in-person interviews, issuing job offers while they are in Kenya. So we're excited about that, CJ.
all right. Yep.
All right. So just as we close, I just want to take one moment, and as we're closing in on the Christmas season around the world, I just want to take this opportunity also to wish everybody that has joined us today all the best at this time. However it is that you may mark or celebrate the Christmas holiday or this time of year, I sincerely wish you a time of rest, a time of rejuvenation, and I wish everyone on this call great success and much prosperity in 2024, the year ahead. And as I said, we would sincerely consider it a privilege, an honor and a privilege if we were able to walk alongside with you on your immigration journey to the U.S. in 2024. Thanks for joining us today. Please be on the lookout for a recording of this presentation. Please feel free to share it. Until next time, goodbye for now.